Straightforward conversations. Get the story behind the headlines right here on the Newsmaker. Prosecutors rejected former President Rodrigo Duterte's bid to skip ICC hearings and called his reason an outrageous lie. Duterte said he is too old, frail, and tired to attend the proceedings and is resigned to the possibility that he could die in prison. The former president reiterated that he was kidnapped in his own country, which Malacañang branded as all for drama. On the Newsmaker, International Criminal Court spokesperson Oriane Maillet. Thank you for joining Newswatch Plus. I'm Tristan Udalo. Today's Newsmaker, we have ICC spokesperson Oriane Maillet. Oriane, thank you for your time and for taking this interview again.
Good morning.
Oriane, let's start with about your preparations for the confirmation of charges hearing. Former President Rodrigo Duterte has seek to skip the hearing, but how things are shaping up so far for the ICC?
Well, as you know, next week we will have presentations in the courtroom from the prosecution, the defense, and the legal representatives of victims. So everybody is preparing for their submissions next week. The court is getting ready to receive a large public. So all the preparations are ongoing to make sure everything's ready for Monday.
Do you have an estimate on how many are expected to participate in next week's hearings?
We do have an estimate, but we'll see on Monday what are the exact numbers. You will be here, I understand, so you can report on that.
Okay, but given the intense attention from Filipinos and the international community, what extra measures, if any, or special arrangements are being put in place for next week's hearings?
Well, as you know, the principle at the ICC is really the publicity of hearings. So except if there are sensitive information discussed in the courtroom, our hearings are public. So next week, indeed, you'll be able to follow this hearing with 30-minute delay on our website, on our Facebook account, on our YouTube account, so that the public can follow what's happening. We'll have also public attending at the seat of the court. So yes, these are some of the preparations. We'll be sharing video materials, photographs, and yes, at the end of the week, we will also issue some statement about the next steps in the proceedings.
Okay, so basically you're saying these are procedural, or this is how you usually conduct your hearings at the ICC. There's no big change that you are doing.
Well, we're ensuring publicity. That's really the most important. Mm-hmm. Okay. And the other change that that is being implemented were the changes to the schedule that the judges decided. So shorter hearings and more breaks during sessions.
Okay. Oriane, we expect both pro and anti-Duterte groups to gather near the court. What are your security steps to keep everyone safe, at least within the vicinity of the court?
So the vicinity of the court is in the hands of our host state, and we're in close contact with the host state to make sure those remain safe. And we will also make sure that people coming at the court feel safe and secure when they're attending the hearing.
Okay, but there's close coordination between the ICC and the Dutch authorities to ensure the security.
Yes, always.
Okay. Do you have any message for supporters or critics or observers who plan to go to the ICC or follow the proceedings closely?
Well, not everyone will be able to enter the public gallery. That is because the capacity of the public gallery is limited. So yes, this is one thing. But yes, stay calm and informed about these proceedings. This is not a trial. This is really a pre-trial hearing. This is the first step for the judges to decide whether or not we are going to trial. So these are some of the key messages.
Okay, and definitely there will be no walk-ins. For example, for those who might just want to enter the ICC, they really have to be accredited for them to be allowed and witness the proceedings firsthand.
There will be a few seats available for the public, but as I said, it's a very limited capacity in the public gallery. We'll do everything we can to allow the public on that day. And as I said, this hearing is web streamed on various platforms.
Okay. Oriane, walk us through what will happen on February 23, 24, 26, and 27. Are these mostly procedural sessions, and should we expect limited arguments for now?
So I really encourage you to read the schedule where the judges have detailed the order for the parties and participants to speak. There will be first, in the formal opening of the hearing, then we'll have opening statements, brief opening statements by the prosecution, the defense, and the legal representatives. And then each of them will go a bit deeper in their submissions. The prosecution and the defense have 2 hours and a half. So that will, indeed they will be able to elaborate on the evidence, mostly on the document containing the charges, the pretrial brief for the prosecution. And then there will be closing statements, and the judges can also ask questions to the parties and participants.
Okay.
So we expect 4 days of hearings, and indeed, at this stage, there will not be any witnesses called by the parties. We expect submissions by the lawyers. If we go to trial, then the parties could call witnesses. At this stage, it's submissions by the lawyers.
Okay, and just to be clear, earlier you've already said about the shortened hearings wherein there are set for maximum of 3 hours with regular breaks. This was made because of the condition of Mr. Duterte, right?
Indeed, the judges implemented some of the recommendations of the panel of experts and the medical officer. So this is how this was planned. The judges may modify schedules if needed. This is also what they said in the scheduling order. But at this stage, we're preparing for the similar schedule that was issued previously.
Earlier, you've emphasized that the confirmation of charges hearing is part of the pre-trial proceedings of the court. But, of course, to help us also understand why the confirmation of charges hearing remains to be a critical moment in the ICC process.
Well, it is a critical moment because it's really, in this case, the first time that we will be hearing evidence in the courtroom, that we will be hearing submissions from the parties and participants. It is really a first step, but remember that the suspect is presumed innocent at this stage. So yes, this is a first step. We'll be hearing more next week, and then the judges will make a decision.
Okay. In the ICC schedule, there's also an annual review of his detention. Could this mean that judges use that review to decide or any requests for interim release?
We do not expect any decision to be taken next week. This is the regular review of the detention, and this had to be done within a year after the initial appearance of the suspect. So the judges decided to use next week's hearing to review detention. However, they will hear the submissions from the parties and participants on this matter, but will not make a decision next week. They will then deliberate and issue their public decision.
Okay. And a decision after the confirmation of charges hearing could come within 60 days. If some or all charges are not confirmed, does that mean automatic freedom for Mr. Duterte?
Well, let's first wait for the 60 days. As you said, the judges have 60 calendar days after the end of the hearing to decide one of three things. One, they can confirm the charges, and then the case proceeds to trial. Two, They can adjourn the hearing and continue later, asking the prosecution to bring more evidence or to amend the charge. Or 3, they can decline to confirm the charges and terminate the proceedings. And then the judges would give orders on the next steps. So let us not speculate at this stage and see what will be the decision after next week's hearing.
I guess my next question will also fall on that answer when I was about to ask how quickly could the case move into a full trial once charges are confirmed?
Well, this will really depend on the circumstances of the case. It is up for the judges to schedule the trial. You'll have to see how the disclosure of evidence will go. So yes, there are too many parameters at this stage, and our focus is really next week's hearing and a decision on whether or not to confirm the charges, and then we can be in touch again. Closer to.
Yeah, that's totally understandable. But Oriane, the defense wants to waive Mr. Duterte's appearance for next week's hearing, but the prosecution objects. How will judges weigh those arguments, and can we expect a decision within the day?
So I would not want to elaborate too much on these arguments, because these are arguments from the parties, and now indeed there's a pending decision from the judges, but it is a right for a suspect to waive his right to appear at the hearing. Now let us wait for the judge's decision, and it will be made public as soon as it's available.
Okay, but in general, are suspects expected to be physically present during confirmation of charges hearings, or does the rule also allow them to waive their right?
So the Rome Statute and the Rule of Procedure of Evidence contain the possibility for the suspect to waive presence at the confirmation of charges stage. So this is in the text, but the judges have to make a decision on this issue. Now, should the case move to trial, in the text of the Rome Statute, the suspect shall be present at trial. But again, let's first wait for the decision on the present waiver request. Let's wait until next week's proceedings, and then we can talk again.
Okay.
After that.
Oriane, in a letter to the court, Mr. Duterte said he was illegally brought to The Hague. Of course, this is a defense position, but even outside the ICC proceedings, a lot of Mr. Duterte's supporters, even his family members, are accusing the ICC of kidnapping the president. How does the ICC want to respond to this allegations and claims? Did the ICC follow all the protocols in ensuring or in obtaining Mr. Duterte?
Well, really, I would not want to elaborate on the arguments of the defense, nor on the arguments of the supporters, but I can assure you that detention at the ICC, the condition of the detentions in the ICC detention center are humane and respect the highest standards of international conditions. So really, that is what I can say at this point.
Okay. And all the medical needs and personal needs of all the detainees in ICC's custody are being attended to?
Yes, because as you know, detainees are presumed innocent at the ICC. If a person is convicted, then he or she will not serve sentence in the ICC detention center. They would go to a prison of a state that accepts to receive them. So really, the ICC detention center is a fair and humane facility that abides to the highest standards, and we are really doing our best to do so.
Okay, and so we will look forward to next week's hearings, and we will watch out what will happen during the confirmation of charges hearing. ICC spokesperson Oriane Maillet, thank you for your time and for explaining this process.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And we will continue to deliver just the facts and the news you need. Until our next Newsmaker, I'm Tristan Udalo.